That ball is hit to deep left center field. It's going. It's going. It's gone. Round triple. Touch 'em all. Hey everybody, this week in Boomer history, it was 26 years ago on September 8th, 1998. The power-hitting boomer, Mark McGwire, he was born October 11th, 1963, fellow boomer. He was playing baseball for the St. Louis Cardinals, and he broke the most coveted record in all of baseball. Most homers in a season when he hit number 62. Big Mac, they called him, and not the Big Mac from Mickey D's. That had that special sauce, 2 patties and so. Wait a minute, he did have the special sauce. And little did they know that it would be a lasting blow. This is the Boomer Island Podcast. Welcome ashore, friends. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for joining me again today on Boomer Island. I truly hope you are healthy and happy. All right, let's get into the boomer history here. You know, there was a time when baseball was known as America's pastime. Remember the green, lush fields of baseball, you know, boys of summer, couldn't wait to get out there. And part of its big charm where we always talked about their statistics, their numbers in the record books. Because if you think about it, most, if not all, major professional sports, they judge all their heroes by their championships that they won. Think Michael Jordan, he got 6. Tom Brady, he got 7. They aren't judged by individual records, but baseball is very different. Baseball's always been a game of statistics, stats. We love those stats. And baseball creates legends out of these ball players that accomplish these records that have a number. So let's go over some numbers, test your baseball expertise. First number 56. Second number, 406. And third number, 2130. Any of those ringing a bell, boomers? For those of you that aren't baseball junkies, I'll leave it to you and the internet. You can look up the details on all those numbers. For those of you that know, you know. But pro tip for those of you searching on the internet, don't put the word balls in your search description. Don't put balls in there. You might get something that you weren't looking for. But of all the numbers that are cherished in baseball, there are 2 crown jewels. The creme de la creme, that is the most home runs in a career and most homers in a season. The 2 numbers that most of us think of that are famous in baseball are 60 and 714. Now, for some of you partiers out there in the 70s and 80s, you might remember the number 714 that was stamped on those pills, Quaaludes, but that's for another time. Okay, the single-season home run record of 60 was set in 1927, and the career homers were set in 1935 when Babe Ruth retired. And Ruth, the mighty Babe, the Bambino, he owned both of those records for a long time, and they just loomed over baseball like some mythical creature that was unattainable. 60. No one ever hit 60. That's outrageous. But in 1974, Hank Aaron of the Atlanta Braves hit his 715th homer and finished his career with 755. So he eclipsed the 714. I think 714 is still more famous, but Hank had the record since 74. Then in 1961, Roger Maris broke the single-season record when he hit his 61st homer on the last game of the season. But, everybody loved the Babe, so the baseball gods, they weren't so nice to Maris, man. What they did, they entered his record into the books with an asterisk. stating that he played in a 162-game season, while the beloved Babe Ruth, he only played in a 154-game season. Then you go 33 years later, coming up to our date here in Boomer history in 1998, and there was this great home run chase between Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals, like I mentioned, and slamming Sammy Sosa. He was playing for the Cubs, and they were going after Maris's record. You're probably old enough to remember that race. You definitely are if you're a Boomer. And I got to say, it was the most exciting and fun time ever to be a baseball fan. And as the season winded down and all the fanfare was over, the final totals were McGwire hit 70 homers and did have the new record, 70. And Sosa ended up with 66. But wait a minute, there was trouble in Mudville, my friends. Because the balls, they just kept flying out of the ballparks. And just a mere 3 seasons later, Barry Bonds went out there and smashed 73 homers in 2001. And, you know, it generated public excitement again, but people started to question, you know, what the hell's going on here? Jeez. You know, I thought the ball might be juiced, but it was the players. I mean, the general public, at least in my circles, we started noticing these players were turning into caricatures of themselves. If you looked at their old baseball cards, right? Now they were these incredible hulks. And even Barry Bonds, his head looked like a balloon at the Macy's Day Parade. You know, but we just brushed it off. You know, they had strong workout routines. They had all the best trainers and supplements. Yeah, they had supplements. But the rest, as they say, is history. The steroid era did get exposed to the world. And as Major League Baseball turned a blind eye to all the juicing, they paid a heavy price. But I want to go back to that McGwire and Sosa home run chase frenzy and mention other numbers, because we're talking about baseball numbers, and these generated debate about our morality even. First number, 1 million. Okay, prior to that game when McGwire, he was sitting on 61 homers, there was multiple potential bidders that come out and said they'd pay at least $1 million, 1 million minimum, to buy the baseball from whoever the person was that managed to snag the ball. And here's the scenario. The place is packed. The whole country basically is watching McGwire at bat. And as home run number 62 cleared the fence off of McGwire's bat, by the way, it was the shortest of all his homers, of all the 70 that year. It was just really a line drive that just managed to sneak over the left field wall below the stands, out of reach of the fans or any spectators. So there's this dude, this Tim Fernandez. He was a 22-year-old computer programmer at that time, and he was getting paid $40 per game to work as a member of the Cardinals grounds crew. Well, he tracked down the ball where it had come to rest near a batting cage by a bullpen. I mean, dude, you just hit the lottery. Woo! A life changer for him and his loved ones. Hallelujah. All right, Timmy. You got it, Timmer. But then what happened, which is a head scratcher to most of us, he decided to return the ball to McGwire. And obviously they had a big party, or, you know, there was game stoppage when he hit it. McGwire went over and hugged Roger Maris's son, and much fanfare. But then they also had a post-game ceremony where Tim went over and handed the ball to McGwire in front of this cheering, roaring crowd and said, "Here, I believe this belongs to you." Okay, here's where I want to talk about the million. I mean, why does it belong to McGwire? Isn't that kind of like returning your winning lottery ticket back to the government because they're the ones who printed it and distributed it? You know, this is when everybody started a debate. You know, they thought, oh, it's the right thing to do. Or it was I don't know what you think, but I believe this was one stupid-ass mistake. You know, people talked about his sportsmanship, his selflessness. I just think that's a nice way to describe a dumbass. You know, where's Major League Baseball? What about Major League Baseball? They deceived us. They sent out these roided-up ball players to break these historic records, duping the public, and all the while making big bucks, you know, huge TV ratings. You know, hey, Tim, dumbass, make baseball or McGwire bid on that precious ball if they really want it. So now you go 26 years later, and Tim works as a public defender, and he says he has no regrets. So good for him. But I don't agree. That could have been a generational changing moment for him and his family. Or if he didn't even want to do that, give it to a charity. But why? Why choose to give the ball to a millionaire playing a game whose bosses are billionaires? All right, next number, 3 million. Okay, on the other hand, you got one Phil Ozerski. And I looked this up. He was a fan making $30,000 a year. He caught McGwire's 70th home run ball. And the Cardinals, in their great generosity, what did they offer? A signed bat, a signed ball, and a signed jersey. So Ozerski says, how about no? Ozerski sold the ball 3 months later for $3.05 million. So what would you have done? Ball's in your court. And just to show how much the luster had worn off the home run record, those 3 years later, when Bonds broke the record with his 71st homer, that ball sold for $450,000. That's a nice total. See, now everybody's selling the balls. Everybody but Tim. Number 72 went for $63,000, and his final homer, number 73, still the record for most home runs in a season, sold for $517,000. Nice chunk of change, but that ain't no 3 mil. So yeah, 26 years ago this week, baseball had the nation by the tail. And ladies and gentlemen, they booted it. They made an error. And that error has forever changed, and not for the better, in my opinion, the way we look at their precious numbers and statistics. You know, baseball took their most beloved commodity, those numbers in the record books, and destroyed the fun by comparing the great players of each era just because of ego and greed. Nobody cares anymore. All right, you beautiful boomers. Let's have the song of the day. We still love our baseball, most of us. It's back. It's a great game, and there's a great song about it called Center Field by John Fogerty, formerly of Creedence Clearwater Revival, CCR. Put me in, coach. Put me in. I'm ready to play. All right, take care, everybody, and may you find peace and love. See ya.